Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on the channel, Charles Morris. And mass shootings are taking place pretty much everywhere. And this is, I believe it's probably one of the most serious issues that is going on throughout all of the United States. And so far, 2023 has not turned out to be such a good year. 2023 is, it can't be worse than the year 2020, since we had the COVID-19 pandemic that happened in 2020, and I think 2020 was far worse of a year than the year 2023, because let's just face it, the pandemic, many people have played a game with science. They've pretty much been going outdoors during the year of 2020, and this is way before we had the vaccines out. People just wanted to, go out and go to the beach and, do all this other stuff outdoors and that stuff, and refuse to wear a mask. And look at the consequences of what happened. People who gathered in large crowds and didn't wear masks, they just pretty much wanted to get back to having a normal life while this virus was still around, and we did not have the vaccines back then until like the end of 2020, and we were starting to get the vaccines together back in 2021, and that's pretty much when people were able to prevent themselves from dying once they've been able to get their hands on the vaccines in 2021. But in the year of 2020, a lot of there's been a large number of people who died during the COVID-19 pandemic, and Governor Andrew Cuomo at that time, the former governor of New York during that time, has done a good job trying to keep the cases low in New York. And the reason why Andrew Cuomo is not a governor of New York anymore is because, he's been accused of sexual harassment. No, he's been saying he said lots of times that he hasn't done anything to women and that stuff, and he has stepped down being governor of New York, and he's now the former governor of New York, and the current governor of New York is Governor Kathy Hochul, and she's been taking Andrew Cuomo's place as a governor. And I think Andrew Cuomo is planning to try to run as governor again. Now, I don't know how people are going to like this, but If Andrew Cuomo does become governor of New York again, then people are going to have a real big problem about it, because he's been put on trial for the crimes that he's been accused of, and I don't think people are going to really enjoy having him being having to run as a governor of New York again. And it's just a big problem. But I'm not talking about Andrew Cuomo in this video. I'm actually talking about the mass shootings that have been happening in this country, here in the United States. And one of those tragic shootings that happened over there in Buffalo, New York, this shooter who had a real big hatred for black people, he selected the top supermarket in downtown Buffalo. One of them, where there was a great population of black people that lived in that area of Buffalo, he selected the top supermarket, and a lot of the people that died over there in the hands of this shooter who had been wearing body armor, and he's carried a bunch of protective gear. And that is, he had a big hatred for black people and that stuff. And he made a good map of the area and that stuff. And Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, he said this was a hate-based murder. And indeed it was. The Buffalo shooter, who had surrendered himself to police and had removed all of his body armor that he'd been had been using during the shooting, once he surrendered to police, he had removed that armor and that stuff, and had surrendered to police. Now, he's been put on trial, and he has been, it was on MSNBC Now, and, I've heard that he had been put on trial. Now, one of the black men who was paying attention in this trial on what the shooter was doing and that stuff, he has had so much hatred built up inside of him for what the shooter really did, that he actually leapt and lunged right at the shooter. And it was an attempt to actually beat the shooter up and actually try to kill the shooter. And the cops in the courtroom was trying to actually keep this guy from actually trying to kill the shooter. Now, there were other cops that were trying to safely get the shooter out of the courtroom. And in the end, I don't know what happened with the guy that was trying to lunge at the shooter, but I don't know if he was taken into police custody or whatever, but, the judge had, sentenced this guy, the shooter, life in prison without parole. This meaning the shooter is going to stay in jail for pretty much the rest of his lifetime. Now, I think he's probably got like a real big passion for actually hating black people and that stuff. These kinds of people are pretty dangerous. I mean, let's be honest. Hate has no home here in America. Okay. And if this guy had like a short time, let's say, if he gotten himself probably like 30 years, he could have probably struck again and try to carry out an attack plot to actually kill a bunch of black people again. The good thing he's got a life sentence in jail on that stuff, that he should not be let out of prison again, because he could carry out another hate-based murder like he has, and it'd be a huge problem. Now, after that has happened, the governor of New York had, after the attack, the governor of New York has placed a weapons ban, and it's been in place that people would have to be like a certain age, I think like 21 or so, where they can to be able to own a gun or a rifle. Yeah, there's like some kind of weapons or gun control in New York now, and I just want to be clear on this. New York takes crime like these very, very seriously. So, yeah. If anybody thinks that they're going to get away with trying to carry out some kind of hate-based murder here in the United States, or, any other kind of, like, gun violent mass shooting and that stuff, in the state of New York, they take it very, very seriously, and you can spend your life in jail for actually trying to carry out some kind of murder plot or mass shooting plot. Even if it isn't, racial hate-based murder and that stuff, you could spend your life in jail, depending on if a judge sentenced you to prison for that long. Or, the second thing is, you could actually get, like, the death penalty if a judge orders you to be executed for carrying out, like, some kind of major mass shooting. Throughout for most of 2023, a lot of these mass shootings have happened in, crowded event areas like, festivals and, it can happen at nightclubs, it's been happening at, very, very big places or events that had, like, a large crowd of people and that stuff. And, there's mass shootings for, people carrying them out for, if they're, like, COVID-19 haters, where people believe that the, Asians were the ones responsible for COVID, which, what do Asian Americans have to do with the virus at all here in the United States? And, you know, like, yeah, I think this virus came from Wuhan, China, but what does this have to do with, you know, the Asian community as a whole? I mean, there are two kinds of people that I already know of. Those that are racial haters, and also, you know, those, Asian haters out there. And this whole mass shooting that is breaking out in the United States so far is absolutely sickening to me. I'm sure it's sickening to other people. Now, the guy that launched at the shooter who killed a bunch of black people in that Top supermarket and that stuff, this guy hated the actions that the shooter actually had on killing black people. The shooter had a motivation to kill black people at a Top supermarket. How bad is that? I'm sure since the time that the shooting at that Top supermarket in Buffalo, I'm sure a lot of people were sick of what the shooter did. And this shooting had been, now it's history. It is shown in ads now on MSNBC, and it's shown to recapture that terrible moment there, and that happened at that Top supermarket down in Buffalo, New York. And people are angry that that happened. But the message also said, but people would not allow that anger to turn into hate. And that's a big problem. And literally, if anybody out there is, you know, a hater just because of the person's skin color and stuff, I got news for you. You think kinda cool, yo? Think kinda cool? Think it's just fun to just go out and kill people of the opposite race? I got a word to say for you guys who think that this is just completely fine. Just to go out and killing people. You're an idiot. You're an idiot if you're a racist. You're an idiot if you think that you've got some kind of motivation to actually just go out and just kill whoever you want. And if you think that anybody here in the United States can get away with murder, don't be surprised I'm being dead wrong about that. Because once you're taken to jail or charged with murder and that stuff, there are two things that can either happen to you. Whether you carry out a mass shooting, whether it's based on hate-based murder or some other reason, if you go out and kill and that stuff, there are two things that either judge will actually sentence you to jail for. It'll be either for life, or, depending on which state you live in, and where you carry out that attack, you could either get a death sentence. Yeah. So, if any one of you think it's very funny out there to go and kill people and stuff, and you think guns are cool, yeah. It's stupid. And maybe the people that carry out these kind of attacks don't realize how bad it is. And maybe you just don't even give a stinking care, bro. Maybe you just don't give a stinking care. But mass shootings here in the United States have to end. And I'm sure the rest of 2023, I guess there's going to be like more stories about mass shootings that are going to be spread throughout all of these news sources like CNN, MSNBC, and all these other news sources like News Nation, that stuff. Yeah. I guess people just don't give a care about how bad they want 2023 to be. I'm sure you don't give a care about who you kill, because if you plan on continuing hate-based murder act, or for some other particular reason out there, yeah. Those people who want to go out there and commit like some kind of mass murder or whatever, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. That's basically what I can describe the kind of people that want to go out and commit these kind of mass shootings. You can either, in the end, after the mass shooting is done, you could be sentenced to life in prison, or be executed, and maybe just be put in jail for at least maybe however many years a judge sentenced you there. They could also sentence you there for a lifetime, or they could give you the death sentence depending on which state it is. Whatever state you commit the mass murder in, and each state has their own rules about mass murders, so, don't be surprised if, if there were stories about, mass shootings happening over there in Wyoming State, you want to be careful, because you could probably get death sentence there for committing mass murders. New York takes it very, very seriously. You could probably get death sentence in New York. And I don't know any other state in the United States where, you could get a death sentence for committing some kind of mass murder. But, I don't know. This mass murder thing It's so sick. The hate-based murderers make me sick. As much as this Buffalo, New York mass shooting that happened at a Tops supermarket in downtown Buffalo, New York. The shooter disgusts me. But I want to make this very, very clear. I do not... Some people... Well, a lot of people in the United States... I forbid to use the term hate. I'm going to use the word I don't like. Some people who live here in the United States. Hate is just too much of a strong term. I forbid to use I forbid to use that. I forbid to use the hate term. I forbid myself. I hate their actions. I hate mass shooters' actions, but not the person. I want to make that very, very clear. But yeah, I just hate their actions, not the person. This is so overwhelming, man. I am so sick of what this guy did. I hated this guy's actions, and I hope that the shooter spends the rest of his life in prison. And now, here's what the people actually want the shooter in his jail cell to actually do. Have nightmares for the people who have screamed for their life before they have been shot dead. And I hope the shooter has nightmares in his jail cell, because that's exactly what he needs to have. And he can't live with himself any longer and that stuff. Well, he did that to himself. So now he's got to live with that reality. And that's what I got to say on that. The Buffalo mass shooter had committed this kind of mass shooting crime, which is a hate-based murder, according to Merrick Garland. And now he's got to deal with that reality of being listed as a hated racial man. That's what he's got to deal with. And let's make one thing clear. Once you commit like some kind of crime and that stuff, you'll either get some sort of label on your head and that's gonna make you look stupid. And what's even worse, if you commit like some kind of mass shooting here in the United States or some other kind of crime and that stuff, well, that's gonna prevent you from it's gonna lessen your chances of getting a job. So like if you get like some kind of serious felony charge and that stuff, that could prevent you from working at like some kind of government job, some government-owned building job, such as like, probably serving on the side of law enforcement or whatever and that stuff. That could lessen your chance of you know, being accepted as an employee over there. You'll probably get less of a chance of actually getting a job over there at a museum. And now if you were trying to work for like a restaurant or whatever on that stuff, you have to list they ask you, have you ever been convicted of a felony? And if you write what that felony was and that stuff, well then obviously you have to say what kind of felony it was. And then I imagine your employees would keep a good eye on you on if you were to do something stupid on the job, on the work field. And yeah, you just have it out bad, man. You just have it out bad. And everybody will know exactly who you are. Once you get a label on your head, it's out there on some kind of government tracking site. So let's say for the people who commit like some kind of sexual assault crime, they get put on Megan's Law and you get like some kind of weird title on your head, and then the public's gonna just look at you like some kind of idiot. Or if you get the label dangerous and deadly and that stuff, then people are gonna look at you that way. People are gonna look at you like, oh my goodness, this guy, I heard about this guy. He's seriously got some serious problems, man. I mean, did you hear about what this guy did? He committed some kind of mass murder with a deadly rifle and that stuff, and he's gone around and he's going around and he's shooting people. He's killing people like he just doesn't give a stink care. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like what I said here, please comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. Charles more. Until the next video, have a good day. I hope the video scares you, because this has been so serious. Have a good day.